John Fedro here with mobilehomeinvesting.net. Yes, it's another whiteboard video, or for my more frequented fans, a gray board video. In this video, I want to talk about how we can still be purchasing and reselling mobile homes, or should we be purchasing and reselling mobile homes March and April with all of what's going on. I mean, some park offices are closed, the DMV, the title transfer offices in different states are closed. Let's talk about that. Before we jump into all of this content behind me, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsor for this video, which is Daylight Savings Time. Thank you so much, Daylight Savings Time, for allowing us to drive around parks more often or later into the night, go to more appointments, see the outside of mobile homes, assuming that we're not all quarantined in our properties, in our homes. Thanks so much for watching. I want to talk to you about this sort of ever-evolving coronavirus issue and what you should be doing. Now, first of all, for the folks watching this video, for you listening to my voice right now, if you want to sit on the sidelines for the next 2 weeks and then reevaluate things, going into the first, second week of April, completely fine. This video is going to talk about if you're feeling proactive, if you're feeling like you want to get out of the house, here's some things that you can do to protect yourself, to still help sellers, to still be able to help sellers in need. So let's talk about that. But the first thing I want to say is if you want to just sort of pause right now and just wait another 2 weeks, the number one thing is health. We will get through all of this, hopefully together. As a country and as a world. There will be more mobile homes after all of this. There will be more sellers. We've seen sort of a drop off in some sellers and then a peak in some sellers that need to sell due to the coronavirus. On the other side, we're seeing a dip in buyers. Cash buyers are definitely going down. Depending on your area, if you're closer to a metro area, there's more cash buyers. The further out you get into more rural areas, there's less cash buyers. That's sort of always been the case, but now it's more so, it's amplified. For payment buyers, there are still a plethora of payment buyers. People are holding on to their cash a little bit more, but with the stimulus package as well, there should be people to pay the bills, and we are looking for people that have jobs, that have some savings. So even if you're trying to sell homes now, we're going to talk about that. If you want to buy a home, if you're buying a home, if you just bought a home, if you're selling a home, if you sold a home, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Before we talk about that, I want to talk to you about two big elephants in the room, okay? In your area, like I said before, the park offices in some of these parks may be closed, and that's fine. Also, the title offices, whether you have a title in your state or you use something different with regards to mobile homes inside of parks, that titling office may be closed. So let's talk about this. If the park office is closed, we can still call the park manager. Most of those offices are still open and operating, and you can find out the approval criteria. If the manager calls you back, which there's certain things you want to do to help encourage the manager to call you back if they don't pick up the phone. So you leave a message, we find out about the approval process of the park. We want to know what that park's approval process is. You can obviously introduce yourself. The park manager has to know you and understand who you are if they don't know who you are already. Can you make an appointment? Do they want to see you? Do you want to stay 6 feet away from them? Is that office even open? Do you feel comfortable in leaving the house even? Are you able to leave the house? Or are you going to get penalized or fined? In some areas, there's the curfews. So, can you get to certain appointments if you even can? You can also learn information about the mobile home itself. If you're calling about a specific property, Mrs. Jones over on lot number 14, you can find out, sometimes it depends on the manager, is that account good? Can the home stay there? Does it have to be upgraded on the outside, etc.? Also, can you get approved? We're going to talk more about this stuff in just a minute, but I want to talk about this before we talk about that other stuff. Can you get approved? Yes, if the park is still open and they're taking online applications, then you can get approved, potentially. If they're not open, they only take paper applications or their office is closed until like middle April or middle May, then you might not be able to get approved because they only take paper applications in person. They want to see you face to face, and they want to take your money, take your application, look at your ID, and if you're not in person, the park shuts down. For not just you because you're an investor, but also the other residents in the community. If they're trying to sell their home to regular people, some offices, can you get approved? Nope. Now, if you can get approved, you can still do your due diligence, which we're going to talk about in a bit. You can also close with the seller. Now you'll close on paper because the title office may be closed and you can't transfer the ownership, but you can get all the paperwork and protect yourself. You also may want to only make a partial payment to the buyer. If you're buying a mobile home, don't necessarily give them all their money that they're owed, because you won't be changing title until the title office opens. Or get a power of attorney. That way if they have to leave, we're going to go over a situation where if you're dealing with the seller and they lost their job, somebody is sick, out of state, they have to leave, they don't want to be in it by the next couple weeks or the next week. If that's the case and it's a legitimate and we've done our due diligence, do you close? Do you pass on the deal? We're going to talk about that. So if you want to actually do the deal, we might take a power of attorney. They're going to give us power of attorney in case they leave the state or they leave the country. We don't want to be left with, oh no, we forgot something, or we didn't get something that we should have had signed, or something was signed in the wrong place. Now you'll have a power of attorney if they leave. So if you can get approved, can you close? Yes. Or potentially. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you cannot get approved, the park says, no, we're not open, we're not approving anybody, just wait. Well, you have a couple options. The park might say, hey, we're not opening until April or May, like I just said. And you have a couple options. Do you do the deal? If you purchase a mobile home without getting approved in a park, the manager's not necessarily going to like that. But remember, you ask them about the approval criteria. If you called that manager and they told you what the park is looking for, they want this kind of credit score, this kind of income, this kind of background, no criminal history, and you say, okay, well, I can pass that. Do you purchase the home? If you purchase the home without getting approved, that's a faux pas. You shouldn't have done that because that's out of order. And you will get a slap on the wrist. The manager is going to say, don't do that. You always need to get approved before you buy the home. But do we do the deal because we don't want to lose it? Or do we pass on the deal for now? We say, you know what, we're just going to wait. We're going to sit out. If you can sell this to someone else in the meantime, we'll call you when we as an investor, or me as an investor, feels more comfortable. So do you pass on the deal for now and wait? Do you pass on the deal for now, but not really pass on it because you get a purchase and sale agreement? You say, you know what, we'll buy it from you at this price, but we're not going to buy it until the park opens back up, until the state opens back up. So let's get a purchase and sale agreement and wait. Now, it is personal property, so the seller could go around you if they found a buyer that was ready to do the deal. Or does the seller say, no, I know the rules in the park. You have to get approved before you buy it. Because the seller may proactively tell you that. They say, no, we need to follow the rules. I'm not going to sell it to you. This is the seller talking. I'm not going to sell it to you, Mr. Investor, Mrs. Investor, until you actually get approved. So the seller might be the one to say, hey, let's wait and pump the brakes. If that's the case, then get a purchase and sale agreement signed. This is sort of just off topic, but wholesaling in a park may be more difficult if the park is not open, if they're not approving anybody, because it's sort of throwing a wrench into the gears of moving forward. Unless you're selling it to a buyer that's moving the home, they don't have to get approved with the park. They can take the title and they can move the home if they so choose to. The mover may have an issue if they're not on the title, and they may not be on the title if the title office is closed. So let's talk about that. If the title office is closed, can you actually transfer ownership? You have all the paperwork, you have everything filled out, your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, you verified as much information as you could, which we'll talk about here a little bit later with regards to due diligence. I just kind of put that out there and I didn't even really talk about it that much. So we'll talk a little bit more about it over here. But can you transfer title? If the answer is no, because your state is closed down, the title transfer department is closed down, well, you have to wait. You can't do it yourself, so you're gonna have to wait. A new buyer taking possession of the home. We're gonna talk about that right around here, but if you actually take paperwork to buy it, are you approved at the park, yes or no? Does that park want you taking possession? You have the paperwork that you now own it, you have the keys even, but do you actually go into that home yet? You don't have a lease with the park, you haven't necessarily signed anything with the park. If you've gotten approved, then you may have signed a lease with the park and you can move in. But if not, the park may or may not want that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, is a title needed? In some states, it's not needed. In some states, they don't even use titles, they use something else. And in some states, depending on the age of the home, no title is needed. But most states, a title is needed. So let's start talking about right here. We talked about the park office, the title office. Now let's actually talk about, in practical terms, what does this look like? So you want to buy a mobile home. In my opinion, all right, hope you can see that up there. We can still be advertising. And if you can't see this, this says advertising and rep, which is to build your reputation. You can still absolutely be doing that. Advertising is, well, not free, but it should be free to little money, depending on what you're doing. We want to advertise. We still want to be developing our reputation, which means calling people. From our comfort and safety of our own home, we can be calling people and reminding them who we are, what we do, that we have a little bit of money, that we're here to help. Do you go to appointments? If there's sellers out there, I'm willing to go to appointments. If you feel comfortable leaving the home and being safe, and staying 6 feet away at appointments, go in one person at a time. Also get pictures of a home before you even go there, or maybe they actually have it on lockbox. So go check out a home if you feel comfortable doing that. The PM, we talked about that, the park manager, you can call them. Are they closed? Usually the phone is still on. It's not like the park is just going to shut down. People have problems, the park's going to deal with it. So phones are still being rung, people are still working, park managers are still working. And then due diligence, you can still do your due diligence. In some states, you can look up online some personal property information. Are taxes current? Who pays for taxes? Have they paid for taxes? Who's the owner? Is the title that you're looking at the most recent title? What about any hidden liens or any liens on the physical title? Is the title there? So the due diligence, we can perform some due diligence. We're not able to call the state to kind of triple check, but we can perform a lot of due diligence ourselves. And that's if you are planning on buying a home. Now, if you are buying it, you said I got to a price and terms that me and the seller like. Again, the PM, the park manager, they may be closed. We're going to have to call them. Can we get approved? Right here. Yes, we can get approved. No, we can get approved. Either way, do you want to buy the home on paper with the seller? Just because you may or may not be approved to live in the community doesn't have anything to do with the mobile home's ownership. Do you take ownership without getting approved at the park? And the answer is, it could be yes. If the seller's okay with that, if you're okay with that. What about transferring the mobile home? Well, not if the state is closed, not if the Department of Transportation, the MVD, the DMV, the different states, that's other names as well. But wherever you transfer titles in your state, if that's closed, then the answer is no, because if it's closed, you're not going to transfer it. You're just going to have to wait a little bit. Take keys. Well, yes and no, or no and yes. Because if you purchase the home, if you're giving the seller money, then absolutely I want you to take keys. And it also depends. If are you taking keys? What negotiations that you worked out with the seller? Are they leaving? For most of the time, yes, you are going to take possession. You may or may not start working on the home just yet, depending on what you've already talked to the manager. But can you still help out the seller? Can you still lock up this deal? I say absolutely yes, depending on the home, obviously, and the numbers. And if you don't help this seller, somebody else may. We want to purchase more conservatively through March and April. And I think that's important to know, because I'm not ignorant to say, or I don't want you to be ignorant to say that the market's going to completely come right back to where it was. Or, hey, after April, we're in the clear. After May or June, we're in the clear. No one knows. This could be going for months and months and months. It could set things back to 07, 09, 010. Not a problem. I'll go back to any of those years. It's just important to know how you're selling it. If you want to sell it for cash, it may take a couple extra months. Make sure you have holding costs accounted for. If you're selling it on payments, that's a different story. But how long is it going to take to recoup your money, depending on the deal that you made? So that's if you are going to be buying the home. Now, if you already purchased the mobile home, like John, I just purchased this a week ago or less. I don't know what to do. My state closed down. Well, can you transfer the home, the title? Probably not. You're gonna have to wait a little bit. Now, that's okay. In the meantime, before you transfer title into your control, the state is closed down, so limited and small kind of fishy things can happen. Because if you don't transfer title right away, the person that you bought the home from, the state says that they're still the owner. So they could go to get a duplicate title which is just another title that says, that they can sell to somebody else. They can go get 5 duplicate titles and they can sell them to 5 different people. The person that brings the title and the bill of sale and the other closing paperwork to the title office to transfer the mobile home title first, they're the winner. It goes into their name first. All those other people with the duplicate titles, the first one that gets down and transfers the ownership into their name wins. So don't wait too long. When I say transfer title and then wait, like as soon as the state opens up on April whatever or May whatever, go in and transfer the title at that point. Repairs, even if you're not on title, yeah, you can still do repairs. I mean, this is a weird time and it's not, if there was something else fishy going on, then I would say, well, let's clear that up before you invest more money into a home. But you've got the title, the seller's out of the picture. We could do the repairs ourselves, maybe. Home Depot, and home improvement stores are still open. Your handyman probably still wants work. I know mine do, which is weird because now it's like, it was kind of tough to pay people before to do work. Now I'm getting calls from people I haven't talked to in a long time, wanting work. So interesting. I'm not going to call them, by the way, or I'm not going to work with them, by the way. If a handyman calls you out of the blue, they haven't called you in a while, and they want to be like your best friend all of a sudden, maybe be cautious with that. But handyman should still want to work. Did you sign anything with the park? If you signed anything with the park. This is usually the park prospectus, the park rules and regulations, the park lease agreement. Did you sign anything with the park so that you can now start working on the home, so that you can, in the park manager's eyes, you're official, you're legit, you're in the community. Now you can resell it, basically. Did you sign with the park? Is the park open? Can you do that digitally with DocuSign or some other online e-signing program? Or do they want you to come in the office? Or is there another way to do it? That's if you just bought the home. And then if you're selling the home now, you bought it, now you're selling it, we can absolutely advertise. And selling homes now, we're advertising, well, I say now, like the past 2 weeks or so, we are sending more video links or texting videos to our potential buyers. Nobody needs to go through a mobile home with their muddy boots that doesn't need to be there, or touching anything with their dirty hands if they don't need to be there. And we all have dirty hands. I'm not saying one particular person does or not, but no one needs to be through your home if they don't understand really what they're looking at, what they're buying. So make sure you pre-screen your people. Only people going to your property that know what they're looking at, that are ready, that are serious, that can pass park approval should be going to your community, or should be going to your homes. You can show them on lockbox. You don't even have to be there, or you can just be 6 feet away. You pull up in your car, you say, I unlocked the door for you already, go through. You can have one person go through, you can have another family meet a couple minutes later, go through. So you can do it from, feet away. But people still want to get into your homes. This is weird. This is something that we're all sort of adapting to. So don't think that you're going to be, you're still helping. Buyers want to buy, sellers want to sell. And so it's, the ways that we're doing things are a little bit unorthodox, but we want to treat everybody respectfully. We want to be safe, and we want to do things legally, ethical, and to protect ourselves. And we know we're going to treat the buyers and sellers right, but we want to protect everyone, including ourselves. We can still advertise. Again, the PM, are they closed? Can they get approved? Cash down. And that's how are you selling? Are you selling with cash? Are you selling with a down payment or monthly payments? I get the question of, buyers are out there that they're losing their jobs. Some buyers are losing their jobs. With the stimulus package, hopefully that helps as well. This last one is if you've already sold it. But remember, we're selling to people. We're not renting. We're selling to people that not only if they default, they lose their current home, but they lose their, rent-to-own status. Not is it just, I got to move somewhere else that I can rent, but no, you were going to own this home. Now you're not going to own it anymore. So the people that we're usually selling to, if you're selling on payments, they've put down a monthly payment. We've verified their income, verified work history, and we can make a case-by-case decision of who we want to sell these homes to. And then again, can they get approved? Is the park even open? Are they going to put a down payment with you and then not move in? Are they going to put a down payment? Do they have to move in someplace right away? Do you allow them to move in before they get approved? I don't think you should do that. You might want to buy before you get approved, but I would say not to put somebody in your home unless they are approved. Are they selling for cash? Are they going to pay for cash? Even in that case, you might not want to take the money yet until they get approved. Because if they don't get approved, they're going to be upset. that they didn't get approved. They spent their money. Now you kind of left them with a home that they can't get approved with. Now they have to sell it. The burden's on them. And then if you did sell the home, can you transfer the title? You're going to have to wait. And then again, we just talked about that. Does the buyer move in? Yes or no? If they got approved, yes. If they haven't got approved yet, then we really shouldn't let them move in. They should be approved by the park. Unless you've sold it to someone that wants to move the home out of the park, which if you're doing that and the park manager knows you're associated with ripping a home out of the park, they're not going to like you. We talked about a lot of stuff on this video. I hope that made sense to you. If it didn't, feel free to rewind it. If you're watching to the end, thank you so much. Feel free to like and subscribe or share this video with somebody if it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any direct questions, you can comment them below. What you're seeing, what you're doing new in the area, or what you're doing because of the time in your area, because of this time in 2020. Thanks so much for watching. Be safe. Take care of one another. Take care of your families. Be safe. And if you need anything, you can comment below or reach out to me at support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. That's support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.